Welcome to LogiKelly Speaking. I think this will be episode number 4. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome a good friend of mine, Mayor Ralph Leriger from Town of Westlock. And like I said, my great pleasure to have Ralph joining us today. Thanks so much, Ralph.
Oh, you're welcome, Kelly. Appreciate the opportunity to join you.
Maybe you could start us off, Ralph.
Sure. It's certainly interesting and difficult times to govern. There's besides the community safety element of it, there's huge financial challenges and everybody's at home and the expectations are sometimes a little bit wild in what people think should be happening, and lots of diversity of opinion out there. So it's a pretty interesting time to be governing a small community for me.
Yeah, I would say, not just working with Town of Westlock, but in my experience lately with COVID, I think many have been surprised at how much we could still do given the challenges that we have. So, as much as there are challenges, there's certainly some opportunity ahead to maybe um, find out, this resiliency that we've built up, whether we can leverage that going forward and do things a little bit differently. Because I don't think those financial challenges are going to go away once COVID goes away, especially in this province. So those challenges will remain, but man, maybe we could learn something from the resiliency that was kind of built into our. We proved our mettle, I think, a little bit, and we can leverage that going forward.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right, Kelly. I mean, we're always looking at opportunities, and I think for me, one of the big challenges is about citizen engagement and trying to do as much as that as you can. I've really found I'm nearing the end of my second term, and the one thing that really stands out for me is how little folks actually know about what services are delivered from what level of government. So always telling the story and talking about, that the municipal government, the one that you can hold accountable for when you meet them at the grocery store, is the one that looks after you from the moment you get up in the morning till when you go to bed at night.
So true. And then we're reversing roles now because you've said something that more on the positive side about that relationship. But you're right, that face to face recognition has become challenged with COVID, right? And so we're not face to face right now, we're virtually face to face. And hopefully, when we come out of this, we don't lose our ability to socially interact face to face. My mo is I'm a big hugger, and I think that's going to be a faux pas going forward. So things are going to change, but um, probably some interesting challenges for that most intimate level of government, which is local, right? It's like you're going to have to get back to normal because you are going to see those citizens as much as you did before, just maybe in different contexts, in different environments, right?
Yeah, and in a small town like this, people know each other. You know their sons and daughters. You know their parents and their aunties and uncles, and you recognize them at the store even with their mask on, because it's always about the eyes. So, and clearly you can see community is craving that human connection. We've lost this year. I've been keeping track of the people that have passed, and the community unable to gather and grieve, and we've lost some real community builders and didn't have that chance to get together and mourn them. So that's been an interesting phenomenon that we've experienced.
Right. I've always thought that it is the most challenging of the levels of government. But it is again where that biggest opportunity is for connection, like the mayor had said. Sorry, Ralph. I promised it'd be Ralph. Um, that connection, and so going forward, I'm a big believer in the figure out your big why. And I think this time of pause and reflection will afford us, especially at the local level, to really figure out where that connection is, really strive to build that relationship a little stronger. And Ralph talked about getting to know what it is that your municipality does to improve that quality of life that you have. Just earlier this week, I was talking to someone, maybe in a seminar close to what we're doing right now online. And to me, that vending machine scenario is something that we need to get past, where we're not a vending machine. We're not a faceless box where you just pump your taxes into, and something happens out there with them, but you're not really quite sure, and you don't know the machine that's within the that box. It's actual people, and it's people that probably live in your community and are working for the municipality because they love that role of public service and the joy that they bring to people. So my hope is that this time of reflection will afford a chance to really come out of this by thinking a lot about that relationship, and maybe it could be richer going forward.
That's a good comment, Kelly. I felt that way for much of the beginning of this event, and in the last little while, it started to as people are struggling from being cooped up and struggling with mental health issues, it's starting to look a little bit more like folks are coming unglued. But I think we'll get back to that. I think what I see is happening as we start to come out of this is we'll hit the ground running. Just this week, our council passed its capital budget, and it's one of the largest ones, bunch of work we've ever passed. And that's a culmination of years of work. And so COVID or no COVID, we're going forward. Those are important things. It's finally mitigation from our 100-year flood in 2016. It's the rebuilding of our agricultural corridor along our ag services business there. And that's what we are as an ag community. So, and we're doing more work without a long-term debenture. It's a combination of grants, stimulus funding, savings and reserve, and so we're going to hit the ground running, and people are going to see activity. Hopefully, we can create some local employment, and I think people will, the economy will start to rebound here, our local economy. And then when that comfort starts to come over us a little bit, and people start getting a paycheck again and get to get outside and spring comes, then I think there's really going to be that reflective time. And as you say, again, we'll go back to that because there's been a lot of lessons.
Yeah, I think you guys have set yourself up really well. And my hope is that maybe other municipalities who are not as in good a shape and haven't been as prudent as Westlock, could peer over and see what's going on and maybe learn a little bit. You deserve a lot of credit for where you're at.
I'm pretty proud of what we've done. I'm real proud of it. We've worked really hard. We've got a great team. I think we've focused mostly on creating a positive organizational culture and that relationship with our council and our staff. And, if you want good things to happen, that's the only way it occurs. There isn't two options, if you ask me. You have to create that positive organizational culture. People want to succeed. I know they do. And so you just got to really work hard at creating that culture and that environment for them to do that. When people ask for my opinion, I always give it. So I go back to the Municipal Government Act, and one of the concerns I call our culture the culture of accountability. And I'm perfectly fine with taking accountability for things that are somewhat within my purview and within my control. I'm not so good at being set up as the chump. And I worry about the wall that is very purposefully built, and I understand why, between administration and councils, in the Municipal Government Act, and there's a good reason for it, but it can prevent you. It can actually cause you to have an organizational culture that isn't mutually respectful and productive. I have a lot of we've got a great CAO. Simone Wiley is a great, she's a superstar, but don't put that on. I don't want people to know that because I don't want anyone to approach her.
Agreed.
But she's a superstar, and we have a lot of conversations, and I'm always cognizant of my role and hers. And I said, you know, Simone, we have to, this is about the relationship between the mayor and the CAO. I want to make sure that if I ever am crossing that governance line, you say so. And she said something I thought was very clever. She said, the wall between administration and council exists in Westlock just like it's supposed to. But the difference in Westlock is our wall is transparent and we can see each other through it and we can hear each other through it. And I thought that was really, really clever.
Very briefly, I think what I see from an outsider, without clarity of purpose, then I think that culture can break down, whether it's council or administration. If you roll up your sleeves and you have intentionally built together that clarity and vision. And I mean, I pushed back when I was working with these guys. I wanted just council in the room when we created our strategic plan, and I wanted administration to listen. And they said to me, things are different here, and we want to do this as a team. And it could not have worked out better. It improved that clarity of what we're all working towards. Sometimes when that happens, when you're all in the room, my worry was if we didn't understand our roles and responsibilities, we could get into trouble. However, they've since followed it up and are putting the other pieces into place, which are a good corporate business plan. It isn't just run to the budget. It's we're going to get some solid plans in place so that the administration will now deliver on the direction they've been given. And everybody knows their roles and responsibilities. And when that's all in place, Ralph's word accountability is not a scary word. Everybody knows with clarity what's expected, and accountability is just something, it's part of how we do things around here.
Yeah, I think you really said it. I know our team surprised you a little bit in the strat planning session, and I mean, there was a lot of energy in that room, and but what we've done together in our budget discussions over the years and in our planning sessions is then you start to understand the context with and the intent of a goal. You know, so council's intent of that goal is, you know, was this, and it was sincere, and we were there when it was discussed, and you can also see how your staff are reacting to that, and we just really worked well together on it, and then it's a plan that everybody buys into.